Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunil ji and Madan ji. What a blissful meditation. Thank you so much. And Radhe Radhe, welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji, over to you.
Radhe Radhe, Pataviji. Thank you. Thank you, Madan ji and Sunil Bhai, for a wonderful session. It was a beautiful, blissful meditation to round up the session. So thank you. Welcome everybody. Good morning, good evening. Hope you're doing great and having a wonderful start to your day or had a great day. Today we will continue on our journey of 4 Ps. We are mapping the Bhagavad Gita. We started off with the shlokas. We were on 412 and then we took a fast track to 1155 where Lord is talking about some of the attributes, some of the characteristics that are needed for us to go to his abode, right? Being without malice, being devoted, having faith, not having enmity towards anybody. So those are the higher level aspiration goals. How do they distill down to some of the tangible things that we can do, you know, to meet that end is what we have been discussing. And we spoke about it's very important to have the purpose. That's the foundation that lays the foundation that determines or sets the stage for picking up the priorities in our day-to-day life. And then we spoke about the productivity aspect of it, where how do we bridge the gap between gyan and vigyan, the theory and practice. And the last but not the least is the profit. How do you measure the profits around this path that would tell us? Because everything that we do it for a purpose, right? And unless it is profitable, there's no point in taking up that endeavor as well. And same goes in spirituality as well. Today we are going to discuss an intermediate state. I'll talk about it more. But let's get started with our opening prayers, and then we are going to have a fascinating discussion around this topic. It's a very interesting topic, and I've got a very interesting story as well to illustrate the point around it. So let's talk about that. Give me a sec. I'm getting a. All right, so we'll get started. Give me a sec. I'll pull up my screen, and that way we can get started with our opening prayers for the. Are you able to see my screen, Pallaviji?
Yes.
Okay. We'll do our opening prayers then.
Yes.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurudevo Ishvara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Radhe Radhe, a very warm welcome. Good morning, good evening to all of you. So let's get started with today's topic. So we've been discussing about lining up our ducks in rows. We said it's important to start off with a purpose. Then you need to have priorities, productivity, profit. As you can see, this is how the ducks are lined up. And when we line them up, today we are going to discuss a topic which is, all right, yeah. So if you look at it between productivity that we spoke about yesterday and profit, there's an important stage. What is needed to sustain this productivity to get the profits? Obviously, we are concerned about the profit or the gains that we are going to have once we set the purpose priority. But then productivity is not something that you can take for granted, right? Even in companies, if you look at it, it goes from CMM level 1 to CMM level 5. If you are operating at CMM level 1, that means we have no, it's like flash of brilliance from time to time. One day you will be great, and the other day you will be mediocre, and the third day you will be average, and the fourth day below average, right? If you are in CMM level 2, there will be a little more predictability around it. If you go to 3, again, more predictability, but still you have not brought in the sustainability aspect of it. If you get to level 4, that means you have brought in sustainability around, your processes have become repeatable, You can repeat day in and day out what you do. And when you go to level 5, that means you are not only able to repeat it, but also able to show continuous improvement. It's measurable, of course, but at the same time, you are able to demonstrate to yourself continuous improvement. And what is it that is needed for us to actually get to that stage is what we are going to talk about. So, aspirations are good. In fact, it is said, pathway to hell is paved with all good intentions. So, aspirations, intentions is a good start, but that alone does not take us far unless it is backed by something which would make it sustainable, repeatable, and something that we could consciously work on as we go along. And that is what we are going to discuss today. It's going to be a very interesting topic. Um, so, let's move forward on this concept. Now, we started off, we'll do a quick recap. We started off with this topic having that big picture in mind always, right? It's very important to have that big picture. If you don't have that big picture, that why part of it, right? Our mind, our intellect may not cooperate. It's like, okay, we are playing to the whims of our mind. Today, I feel like doing this, tomorrow, I may not. So, in order to get over that, it is very, very important that we have the big picture in our mind all the times. Even in corporate setting, I was saying when the employees they know how their day-to-day work is translating to meeting the organizational goals or their program goals, it makes a lot of difference because then they think, yes, this is what it means for me, and that's where I'm directly contributing towards something bigger, not just related to my day-to-day stuff. So having that big picture is important, and it's no different from a spiritual aspect as well, right? For example, if we are doing seva, if we get hung up in the nuances or the nitty-gritties of that and lose the big picture, then again it could be troublesome, right? We may pick up fights, we may have, you know, feelings of resentment towards something that is not working in accordance to our wishes. So that big picture always helps, whichever path you are on. Even in material world, having that big picture always helps, and that enables us to take on austerities, that enables us to take on discomforts, inconveniences as well, right? When we take care of our kids or any family relative member when they are not well, it's the big picture that helps us take on that inconvenience. So we spoke about the example of Warren Buffett as well, right? When we have the big picture in mind, it's important for us to be selective about our yeses and nos. And for every yes, it is accompanied by 100 nos that we'll have to do, and we need to feel comfortable with that. Then we spoke about the concept of life being a B2D journey. So like Swamiji beautifully explains, and then in comes C. So if you prefix it by A, life is an ABCD journey basically. So choices is what helps us move forward. It is an opportunity for our soul to either uplift ourselves, downgrade itself, or stay where it is. All choices are available at every moment of our life. And if you look at it, it becomes a continuum of choices that we uh, take upon in our life. Life is nothing but a continuum of choices that we make. Then we spoke about some of the laws around spirituality. Seeking happiness, we don't have a choice. Where to seek happiness? Yes, we do. Serving, we don't have a choice. Whom to serve, we do have a choice, because if we don't choose to serve God in whatever capacity we could possibly do, then we have to serve Maya. We have to serve our relatives, people, family. There's absolutely no escape from serving. So choice is ours. And Lord Krishna has given us a very, very beautiful mantra when he talks about Karma Yoga. That's the way you can actually serve God when you're offering the fruits to God, or attach your mind to God that I'm doing it for your pleasure. Right? It's just changing of the consciousness. He's not asking us to give up our work. He said, continue doing what you're doing. In fact, he's strongly recommending us to do things in accordance with our nature, but change the consciousness. And the third thing is self-seeking. Yes, we have no choice but to be self-seeking because we are not yet there. However, our true swart, so earth we spoke about, right? So we think of as body. And that is why the interests that fulfill the interests of our body, mind, and senses is what we think is truly going to serve us in long run. However, when we start getting this understanding that our true self is not this body, our true self is sentient. In fact, if you look at the order of hierarchy, the insentient should be serving the sentient. Insentient is what? Gross body. It should be serving the soul. However, it's just the other way around. We are making our energy serve our this sentient, insentient stuff, gross body. All the endeavors that we take, friends, relatives, parents, spouse, material, acquisitions. Actually, it is all serving our body and bodily associates only. Even our relationships are bodily relationships that we pay too much, get too hung up or attached with, are also at the platform of body, and that is not truly serving our swarth or the self-interest. We spoke about that as well. Moving on, we spoke about knowledge and implementation. That's the biggest divide, right? Despite our best intentions, if you don't put it to implementation, then it's useless. Like Einstein said, realized knowledge or implemented knowledge is real knowledge. Rest all is mere information. So it's a very important concept. How do we bridge that gap? And we spoke about this as well. In fact, it reminds me of a joke. There was a guy. Yeah, so there was a couple, and some noise started coming up in their house, and the lady says, the wife says, I think we've got a robber at our home. So this guy says, come on, he said, I've been a policeman all my life. If I won't know, who else would know? So I understand it's a robber. So then she said, I think he's starting filling the coffers, okay? He's opened some door and started taking the jewels out and everything. He said, yeah, I know that. I mean, I've been a policeman all my life. If I won't know that, who else would? She said, I think he's zipped that bag and trying to run away from the window now. He said, come on, have been a policeman all my life. If I won't know, who else would know? And then she said, I think he's running away. He said, of course he has to run away. I'm a policeman. Who else would know it better than I would do? And then he ran away. So he had all the knowledge, but he didn't put it to use. So what was the point, right? So if we have all the knowledge and we are not able to pull it and put it to use, we are just like that policeman. It's important to put it to use as well. By the way, I have a sequel to it as well. Okay, if you're interested, I can tell you that. So this thief comes again to their house. Okay, and this time the husband wakes up and grabs him. The thief said, sorry, I didn't mean to, let me go. He said, yeah, I'll let you go, but can you please say hello to my wife? So thief said, yeah, sure, but why? He said, because she has been expecting your arrival for the past 20 years. So every day she will say, there's a thief, there's a thief. So anyways, so point here being, knowledge is important for as long as we are able to pull it when we truly need it. Otherwise, it becomes pure information and useless, right? We can use it to impress people, talk a lot of good stuff, but it doesn't take us very far. So we have to move away from being a shook to more of a somebody who's going to savor that knowledge and implement it as well. So a little bit of knowledge implemented is worth more than having storehouse of knowledge and not being able to implement it. That was the key thing. Moving on, we spoke about these three concepts, important concepts that our scripture give us, that it's important to turn your knowledge to belief, because belief determines the trajectory of our life. And Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan, the three-step process is what our scriptures are telling us. Pick up a piece of knowledge, keep contemplating about it, and then once it becomes faith, it will be in an autopilot mode for you. It's very important to really follow this process for the piece of knowledge that really resonates with us, because one piece of knowledge can change our life. That is how powerful it is. Tons of knowledge is fine, but one piece can actually transform our life if we truly start believing in it. Right? I gave Swamiji's example, which I find very inspiring, that somebody asked him, what made you give up everything? Right? He could have had a plum job, possibly might have been a CEO of a big company, right? Fortune 10 or Fortune 15 companies. He said very simple, he believed in knowledge. That's it. Just that faith and that true belief in the knowledge that what our scriptures are telling is important, and human life is a golden shot at salvation, and having that opportunity to serve God and Guru. He just took that knowledge to heart and took his life to another level altogether, just believing in the piece of knowledge. Moving on, we spoke about the difference between Jigyasu and Pipasu. We want to be obsessed with looking at the jar alone, or would you rather taste it, right? Most of us would rather taste it. So we need to become Pipasu and not Jigyasu alone. That is what our scriptures are telling us as well. So let's move on today to the next part. Now, this is from Brihadranya Upanishad, very important verse, and you'll be able to appreciate it, I'm sure. We'll look at it through some examples as well. It says, Sa yatha kamo bhavati tat kratur bhavati. Yat kratur bhavati tat karma kurute. Yat karma kurute tad abhinas padyate. So basically, what it means is that when you have an intense desire, you will make a determined resolve. Intense desire will lead to a determined resolve. I really want to do it, so I must do it, and so I will do it. Okay. And then it goes on to say, when you have a determined resolve, you will put in intense effort. It all started with that intense desire. Your resolve became pakka. By the way, resolve is called sankalp. Sankalp. Okay. God is called Satya Sankalp because his resolves are all pakka. He's not self-doubting or second guessing that okay, maybe I should create it, maybe I should breathe and unfold all the creation, or maybe I should not, or maybe I should wait or have a little more sleep. No, he desires and things unfold. Very clear about absolute clarity. So, but our resolve also is if you make a determined resolve, the universe starts conspiring to make it happen. Okay, that is how the universe is designed. And obviously it will be followed by an intense effort. And then furthermore, it goes on to say that when you put in intense effort, that is how you will become. So how did this process start? It all started with an intense desire to do something. Even in material world, if you have to achieve something, it starts with an intense desire, how much we truly want to achieve that. And then obviously it will result into that resolve, that sankalp that you make. The effort would commensurate with that, and that is how you would end up becoming. You end up visualizing it, and then actualizing it and realizing it. All three will happen in that form. And if you have a lukewarm desire, okay, maybe not, then rest all you can automatically do that, right? Your effort will, you'll not have a determined resolve. Even effort will be wishy-washy. Okay, if it happens, fine. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. And then finally it will be 50-50, right? So there's an English saying, it says that when you think you can or you think you cannot, in both cases you are right. So this is how it goes. Now, maybe you don't believe me, right? But I'll show you a story, then you will believe me. It's a beautiful story took from Swamiji. I loved it when I heard it for the first time. I am sure you will love it as well. And try to, what do you call that, animate it as best as I possibly can. So, but anyway, so this story, it reminds me of, let's look at this concept through a story. And the story is, okay, anybody wants to give it a shot? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, which means fantastic and wonderful, to go with the concept. By the way, this word was given to me by one of the participants. She used to come earlier, and I'm happy. I think she's able to start coming back again. So I thought this is the right time to bring in this word because I love this. It's an important one. I mean, a bit of a tongue twister, but it actually has a meaning. Okay, if you go check it out, and you can start using it in your Facebook posts and Instagram posts as well. Okay, it will draw a lot of attention for sure. All right. So they are fantastic and wonderful, the story that we are going to go to illustrate or understand the concept that we just spoke about. So let's look at the story. We have discussed it in the past, but I think it's a good opportunity to talk about it even today. Now, this story of this is of this gentleman called Kareli Takacs, okay, popularly also known as Man with Only One Hand. And he used to be in Hungarian army. This guy was in Hungarian army. Let's look at the story of this guy. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard it before, but it doesn't harm to hear it again because it's such a wonderful story. Now, this guy was he was a world-class pistol shooter at shooting. Abhinav Bindra, like he has won the only gold India has, not the only one, but the first one to win the gold medal in Olympics. So, in that pistol shooting, he was a shooter, and he was he was the best shooter in Hungary at that time. And he was denied a place in Hungarian shooting team in 1936 Summer Olympics. on the grounds that he was not an officer, he was a sergeant. So it was not meritocracy based system, it was a hierarchical system where only officers could participate. So despite having the required skill and the merit, and despite being the best shooter to represent his country, he was sidelined, he was marginalized, and an officer was sent instead. Okay. And we know Olympics how they go. It's a four year to 4 year deal. It's not like, okay, if not today, I'll do it tomorrow. It's like 4 years of effort, 4 years of dream, 4 years of aspirations are washed away. Okay? By the way, this is just the beginning of the story. Okay, so don't hold on to your breath. It's not yet over. Now, 1938, this prohibition, discriminatory prohibition, was lifted in Hungary after the Berlin Games. So they said, no, let's go with the meritocracy system. Whoever is the best should be able to represent the country. And he was the member of Hungarian pistol shooting team in 1938. And he was expected to win because he was the best around that time. So 1940 games, which were scheduled in Tokyo, he was the chosen one from the Hungary team. Now, however, what happens to his life? So on one of the days, a defective grenade exploded in his right hand, the shooting hand, and it shattered it completely. Basically, he lost his hand, the shooting hand. Okay, he was very passionate about shooting. Finally, he got his opportunity. Now the hand got destroyed. Now, what would common people do? They'll give up their dream, curse their fate, for the rest of their lives, or stand, or would how many would have the courage to stand up again for the dream and get what they planned? His shooting hand is gone, mind you that. Sports, by the way, even if you lose an inch, 1 inch in competitive sport like Roger Federer or any athlete, they would understand it's like going back 5 years. You cannot make up for that because it is high endurance sports, and people who get to that, even if they lose just a little bit of their reflex, basically that could be the deal breaker for them. That is how competitive sports can be. And here we are talking about Olympics. Now let's see what this guy does. Now, most people would have quit and probably spend the rest of their life feeling sorry for themselves. Every time somebody would come, they will open up the album and show them, this is how I would shoot, and what happened, and people will have that sob story, and people will say, yeah, too bad happened. But let's look at this guy. He did the unthinkable. What he did was he picked himself up and he decided to shoot with his left hand. Okay, he's getting into a competitive sport and said, okay, let me do it with my left hand now. People are not ambidextrous. You can imagine what it means. I mean, I tried playing with my left hand table tennis. I cannot do it more than a one rally for sure. Now, after meeting 1 month of treatment, he secretly started to teach himself with left hand. He started practicing as well. And at that time, when he started practicing, he was not even able to write with his left hand. It's not that he was naturally gifted with ambidextrous skills. He started teaching him, but he did not give up. He said, okay, I cannot write, but I will learn to shoot. He continued practicing it. Nobody knew. People would have said he's insane. And then he did not worry about what people are saying or the discouragement, from that end. And people cursed him, demotivated him, even underestimated him, said what kind of a, insanity what he's trying to do. Now in 39, he showed up at Hungarian pistol shooting, and then championship. He approached tactics basically. So people came and just to give their condolences that, hey, too bad happened to you, man, and you used to be great and all that stuff. They came for that and to congratulate him for the strength to watch them shoot. They say he's come as a spectator, but he said, I'm not here to spectate but participate. Okay, so just imagine this guy saying that. So what they would have said. And then when the event began, they expected him to have a feeble attempt, just some kind of an attempt he's going to make. So they said, okay, we are going to encourage him and say, okay, do it well. And then obviously it's a competitive sport, not easy. Nobody can expect that, and as you can imagine. But when his turn came, this guy, as you can see, with his left hand, he started firing, and shot after shot, people's jaw dropped open. That precision, with that precision that he started shooting, and he was hitting the bullseye, the perfect bullseye, the 10 out of 10 that you can do. And when everybody had shot their hand, and this guy was going on, and what happened? he actually won that event, where people came in to give him condolences. He actually ended up winning that event with his left hand. Not the end of the story, not a happy ending yet. 40 comes, obviously he's ready for the Olympics. Now in this year, what happens? The Olympics itself was cancelled. 1940, World War II, because Germany, and we know that all that stuff. So the Olympics got cancelled. He was ready with his left hand, Olympics got cancelled. 44, again he waited for 4 more years. Now 44, the war was continuing, again it got cancelled. Okay, he's waiting since 36. Just remember when he was a sergeant. Already how many years have passed by? 8 years have passed by. 48, he was 38. That is called the twilight of a sportsman's life. Your reflexes start diminishing and a lot of other things. Now it was held in London, and he was no longer considered the favorite. People come and new generation comes along, and the reigning world champion, whoever was that, he asked him that what are you here for? And he said, I'm here to fight. And then not only he went on to win the gold medal in that Olympics, but he also set a new world record in 48. So just imagine the resolve of this guy, right? Some of the basically goes back to, and then in 52 further, he won the gold medal again in Helsinki Olympics. And the mental toughness to bounce back is something very commendable. Very few stories, sportsman stories, you would see like this. So he not only endured the pain, but just think about the resolve this guy had. In normal circumstances, if you think about it, people would feel sorry for themselves, blame it on destiny, and stop pursuing your dream. Right? Enough of pursuing this goal, enough of it. Can I do it? Not do it? And convenient excuse that, all my life I practiced and now my hand got shattered, and why did God this to me, and that, and that's about it. Or excuse that he lost his right hand, depressed that fate circumstances conspired against him. Why me syndrome? Why did God choose me to have this tragedy? None of it. He just went on and continued with that particular resolve. So that resolve is the thing that basically the determination, obviously the discipline that goes along with it, is something that we've been talking about, which actually paves the way for um, realizing the gains or the profits on the path of spirituality. So let's have a bit of a discussion around this. Now that we have gone through this concept and this thing, now what is needed to sustain to get the profit? So if you look at it, this is what I had kept it. The discussion today is, if you look at this concept, our destiny is actually operated upon by the deepest mechanism that is inside us. There is definitely a prarabdha aspect of it, but the kriyaman God has given us along with the free will, that plays a huge, huge role. And one cannot underestimate that. Looking at some of the stories like this, this is one of the many stories we can actually look at. I picked up a sportsman because if any one of you has played competitive sports, you will understand it is not a child's game. Competing in competitive sport and somebody picking up on it, once they have lost their actual the hand, it's like 99.9% people would give up. It's just not easy. So he would have exercised tremendous amount of resolve. This guy would have had, and the self-belief. And the same at characteristic is needed even more on the path of spirituality, where your resolve is not shaking by the day. So it said that switchboard of the cosmos, as it were, seems to be inside our own hearts. The sankalps that we make around things that we want to do, that matter to us as per the priority that we accord to that particular thing, is going to determine the success or our failure of our life. So let's get a bit of a discussion going around this concept. Any thoughts, any remarks before we proceed further?
Nitinji, what an extraordinary story of extraordinary courage. I mean, hats off to you for for sharing this story. I mean,
It's from
I got
Swami. I just
goosebumps hearing this.
It's from Swamiji. I had the same feeling when I heard it for the first time, and I thought it's a good opportunity to bring it live. So I looked up onto his story profile and what Swamiji, and I hope you felt the same way, because I felt the same way when I heard the story. I said, extraordinary. It's kind of, this feat is impossible unless somebody is so determined to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah. So not only determination, like prolonged determination, and not ready to take defeat, and which is like extraordinary. I mean, amazing, amazing. No words to express.
Right. And think of it, how much he waited: 36, 39, 40, 44, 48. He
Wow. Yeah.
continued waiting, right? And
Yeah.
then he was denied that opportunity. First, because of that discriminatory rule that they had, that only officers are allowed to. After that, because he lost his hand. Third time, he was ready with his left hand. Olympics were cancelled. Fourth time, he's ready. Again, Olympics are cancelled. War is continuing. Fifth time, he was not even the world champion. And he not only beat him, he set a new
Right.
world record. And 52,
Amazing.
again, he came back and again won the gold medal. So amazing resolve that I have to do it, and he made it happen. And
Yeah.
one can do it, like Swami Vivekanand said, right? If one person in flesh and blood can do it, so can we. Same thing goes
Wow.
for saints as well. If one person in flesh and blood can realize God, so can we. But the point is, we need to have that firm sankalp based on the foundation of our priority, right? Like I said, first the priority has to be clear, and then the foundation, the purpose has to be clear, and then the priorities have to align towards that purpose. And then obviously we have to start putting in effort and look at the productivity. And tomorrow we'll get into the profits part of it. How do you really know whether I am actually earning a profit? Because nobody wants to run something which is a loss making venture.
Yeah.
Right? If you're losing something, why would you even continue on that particular path? So it
Yeah.
has to be profit making venture. And what are the profits? What are the tangible profits that you can realize and you can measure yourself against, is something we can discuss. Maybe we can discuss it today only,
Mhm.
time permitting. But let's have a bit of a discussion on this concept, because it's a very deep concept. And going back to the verse again, it's actually from our scriptures and beautifully illustrated. And I picked up a material example, but the same thing gets applied on the spiritual path as well. That when yat,
Yeah.
this is from Brihadranayana Upanishad, yatha kamo bhavati tat kratur bhavati, yat kratur bhavati tat karma kurute abhin tad abhinusvadyate. So it's only when we make feeble desires or self-doubting stuff or lukewarm desires, we don't end up achieving something. When we have a firm resolve, there's absolutely no reason why we don't end up achieving it.
Yeah. Thank
Even
you.
that movie
Yeah.
Om Shanti Om says the same, right? I forgot that dialogue, but something similar to that
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah.
Har zarre or something to, yeah, the whole universe starts conspiring basically
Yes.
to make it
Yeah.
happen. But
So,
doesn't mean we have to become okay. We have to become spiritually okay. Okay, not
so
that
that
it
is why
will
it is
happen.
said to we should always dream big. We should always aspire for something very, very high,
Yeah,
right?
very true. And have that belief also. See, the problem happens that when our belief is not so, that is why the difference between our sankalp and God's sankalp is that God is called Satya Sankalp. Okay, once he desire, he doesn't have to put in, he desires and it happens. But our sankalp, when it becomes Satya Sankalp at times as well. When we are absolutely sure about something, it ends up happening.
Hmm.
But most of our sankalps are wishy-washy. Okay, maybe not. Or if it happens, that's fine. If it's not, I don't know whether I'll be able to do it. You know what? There's so many other things that can. So once we are able to make that resolve firm, and I've seen it in my life, there are very few things I can make that kind of a resolve. But whenever you get your mind to do that, you end up achieving it. And whenever you have self doubts and all that stuff, not. And same thing goes in the path of spirituality as well. We have to have a firm. First of all, the priority has to be clear, that foundation, and then once we start having that resolve around, okay, I need to make a difference in this life, then things will start happening and aligning around it as well. Okay, let's have.
I
I think
see a couple of hand raised, Nitinji.
so. I hope you found this story super califragilisticexpialidocious. But at least you'll remember this word now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, in chat,
And
many people have mentioned that. Thank you for sharing that story. This was amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can thank Swamiji for that. He's amazing. I don't know how he finds times to research all this stuff, despite his busy schedule. But he brings in such amazing stories. that you can only of such awe-inspiring stories, and we get the opportunity to present it after listening to those. Okay, let's hear from a few participants and then
Yes.
we can.
I'll start with Sashiji. I'm seeing her raising hand for the first time. So,
Yes, please. Radhe Radhe.
Sashiji, Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I just remember Nitinji, the shloka you just shared, that was the shloka was told to Swamiji when Swamiji was practicing, to how to, give a speech. So he used to sit in his room and used to give a speech to in front of the wall, and it was so boring for him, and he was getting very discouraged because there was no expression, nothing. So he told to Maharaji, can you assign somebody? So when I practice my giving a speech, so I have somebody in front of me, so I can get some kind of response. So that's the time Swami Maharaji shared that, he told this, shloka to Swamiji. And since then, Swamiji said there's no looking back. He got that, what he got the message, what Maharaji was trying to tell him. And he's, there is no turning back. This is what I wanted to share.
Thank you,
So
Jyotijeet.
this shloka really changed Swamiji's life too.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, beautiful. I remember him telling us the story as well. In fact, he told him that when we talk about motivation, it's an internal motivation, not a function of external things, that I would like to see things around and then I'll be motivated. And in fact, even the sports people, if you look at it, there's a difference between external motivation and internal. People who are sufficiently internally motivated, they do really well in life because they get stimulus or triggers or reaffirmation from people around. So that's a great skill to have. And yes, Maharaj made him practice looking at the wall. So now, even if there are two people or seven people or no people, he continues talking like the way, as if there's a big audience out there. As you can see, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Shashi.
Yes, Padmaji, Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Just wanted to share some thoughts. Maybe if we can picture this, right? So this is how I am seeing this. This switch, right? Let's say it was always turned off and or turned on for that matter. Maybe your previous samskaras have it always turned on. But if you think of like we can turn on the switch, but if the electricity is not there, it doesn't matter even if the switch is on or off, doesn't matter. So either because you had the previous samskaras, the switch is on, or during this lifetime, something, triggered and then you turned on that switch. Definitely you have to anticipate externally, and this switch is internal, right? Externally, you would anticipate that what people perceive of you and what people say about you, what situations say about you, that is where your control has to be. Like that is where your conviction to the switch that you have turned inside, even if people judge you and say, you're not at that stage, even if the situations will push you to the edge that you are right there and thinking that your switch is not turned on or turned off. But that's exactly where the faith comes into the picture, that truly that faith comes into the picture and say, the energy or the courage to come resist that negativity which is coming from externally, which is coming outside, whether it is a stimulus, whether it is an input, whether it's somebody's comments, whether it's your own mind kind of resisting you and telling turn off that switch. That's when the true conviction comes into play, and your faith in God comes into play and say, I am not willing to turn off that switch. And when you convict to that conviction and say any external inputs is not going to affect me because I believe in you, rather than believing in myself and my monkey mind, I believe in you. He will give you that energy and power to keep that switch continuously turned on, and whatever that electricity needed to flow, it will flow. So that is where I think we need to learn to say, this is exactly where I need to tell myself that I'm nowhere accepting that my switch will be turned off.
Beautiful point. I would say it was super audacious, what you said. Very true. In fact, we have to go by our conviction and the fact.
Welcome to Time and Timers. Here you will find a lot of timers with different themes. You can use our countdown timers for study, relaxation, homework, school, class, office, or work.
Okay. When you click something and you have put it the music on, funny things can happen. Great point, Padmaji. Beautiful point. Let's continue with the discussion. I can see a few more hands, so then we can build on this.
Yes, Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. This is a very interesting topic. I think this aligns with law of attraction and also that dialogue that you said from that movie that किसी चीज को अगर हम शिद्दत से चाहें तो सारी कायनात हमें उससे मिलाने की साजिश में जुड़ जाती है. But like another thing along the same lines was like I think Swami Vivekananda has also said that if you are determined towards something, and that might be very weird for the public, they'll first laugh, then they will be against you, but finally they will accept you. So if you are determined and towards your path, you will achieve it. But my confusion is with respect to the first point, at times, what is it that we want to achieve? If that, I think that's where we need some help in terms of God's grace and the guidance, because if that is wrong itself and we are super determined to achieve that, then we are, I think, on the wrong track, right? So that's something that I thought I should, I mean, at least bothers me at times.
Yeah, very true. That's very true. That's where we started with the foundation. The purpose has to be clear. Right? What is the purpose? Now, if Mr. Indra, he did tapasya and God appears in front of him and he says, ask for a boon. God's asking for a blank check. And he says, give me the most beautiful women on this earth. And God gives him an entire line of women there. He just settles down for the first one only. Now the purpose is not sorted out, right? That is where the knowledge will come. So we may settle for a candy in a jewelry store. Like a kid would settle for a candy in a jewelry store. More often than not, we do the same because that big picture is not clear, or because the purpose is not clear, or because the priorities, they are aligned to something which is not the right purpose at all. So that's where the foundation has to be rock solid, right? The belief system has to be rock solid. And that is when you can actually reject all these distractions, like a vegetarian would would walk in a fish market, right? You are very focused. This is what I need. Because God has not yet started testing us. When he starts giving you carrots, right? He tests you with carrots and sticks both. Sticks is fine, we start complaining. But when he starts giving you dangling carrots of this world, we don't know what will happen, right? Little bit of fame, little bit of money, little bit of power can corrupt us. And God testing can go all the way up to Brahmalok. So that is where the foundation and the belief has to be rock solid. Otherwise, we can't trust our mind. When it will stop cooperating and you start getting into the enjoyment of bhukti, right? There are so many enjoyments of bhukti possible on this earth. And there's a bigger enjoyment called mukti. Bhakti comes when you reject both of these. So that is the foundation has to be rock solid. The belief, foundation, knowledge has to be rock solid. Tattva Gyan has to be rock solid. Keep on revising it until it becomes part of your DNA, right? And then microbiology, you would know better, right? Once it becomes part of your DNA, what happens? So, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Great point, Nitinji. So in chat, Smita ji has mentioned the deepest mechanism is inside everybody, but at the same time, it has to be supported by external factors. With one hand to practice, help of others is required.
Yeah, if situations are conducive, definitely. That's what Krishna says. In order for you to make your situations conducive, you have to do a lot of good things. You have to make God your priority. Then situations will be conducive. But we have enough stories, historical references, including Tukaram, Kabir, They did not have support, but their sanskars were so solid that despite adversities or unfavorable material circumstances, situations, they were still able to proceed like a devotee would do.
Mhm.
It's not a
Okay.
prerequisite, although it might be a helpful aid. Lord Krishna says if you spend significant amount of your life or time uh, thinking or in spiritual um, quest or devotion to God, that I will arrange so that you are born in a family where you can continue this journey early on. You will get conducive circumstances. If we are not getting that, means we have not done such a good job. We have made some other things priority and all that stuff. But yeah, it's not a prerequisite for our devotion. That's what our scriptures tell us. But yeah, it would be helpful.
Yeah, great point. So Preeti ji has mentioned a contemporary example of similar story is Praveen Tambe, an IPL cricketer.
Praveen Tambe, yeah, we can bring that story as well. There will be a lot of such stories for sure. Arunima Sena, I can tell her story as well. Okay, maybe a video I can show in one of the amazing story. She lost her leg, but the amount of resolve she had, she still, will bring her video in one of the sessions. Basically, she was thrown by robbers. Right, she was a very dogmatic girl, sportsman. I think she was a volleyball player, and then she was traveling for nationals, and then robbers came in that train, and she resisted to teach her a lesson,
Mm-hmm.
threw her out of the train. Her legs were shattered, they got amputated, and but her dogmatic spirit actually carried her through. She said, all right, so what, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. Okay, with that kind of and she actually did. It's a very interesting video. Maybe we'll play it in one of the sessions, possibly tomorrow, because we are
Yeah.
yet to touch upon the prophets. See, all this is fine. Now this question would obviously come up, right? So what, basically, this part, if you look at it, so what do I gain by becoming spiritual, is what we are going to tackle tomorrow. End of the day, you have to have some kind of a benefit. If it's not beneficial, why would you do something, right? We have enough things to do. There's a latest Bollywood flick that is going to come up, and that party that we can do, why should I invest in it? What is it for me, kind of a deal? That's what we will tackle tomorrow, because everything has to be profitable. In the model that we are following, the top P is profit. If you're not able to show bottom line, it's not useless. It's basically useless, right? So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Yes, couple of hands. Let's
Yes.
take.
Yeah. Pragya ji, Radhe Radhe. Thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe and Nitin, Pallaviji, and everyone. Yeah, beautiful, such inspiring examples. And I loved your line, Nitin. Yeah, till it becomes part of our DNA. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
I wanted to repeat that dialogue, that very famous dialogue. इतनी शिद्दत से मैंने तुम्हें पाने की कोशिश की है, इतनी शिद्दत से मैंने तुम्हें पाने की कोशिश की है कि जर्रे जर्रे ने मुझे तुमसे मिलाने की साजिश की है. Yeah, I had really loved this line, so I remember it. And yeah, law of attraction is there. हमारा जब resolve होता है, और when we are on a particular path and when we are convinced of our goal, we invite similar vibrations, similar people, similar knowledge in our everyday life. And yeah, many of us have been experiencing this. And yeah, history is full of all these examples. I was also reminded of Shabriyu, as Swamiji quotes. She waited 40 years, and yeah, Mirabai, and so many, all of this, whether in the material world or in the spiritual realm, who have achieved their goal, have tapped into their आत्मा की शक्ति. हिंदी में वर्ड है विल पावर का, आत्म शक्ति. So this kind of willpower comes only when you tap into that infinite, when you tap into your soul power. Like the resolve of slimming down or losing weight or going to the gym, it fizzes out all these small desires, because willpower हम मन से बनाते हैं, so it is limited. It is made out of our mind. So this kind of willpower that we see of Arunima Sinha, or the example you cited now, and so many bhakt or saints, they have tapped into their spiritual or the soul power or Atma ki Shakti. And then, this kind of resolve and steadfastness, or waiting for 12 years to achieve their goal, or lifelong for so many saints, lifetimes, not even lifelong. So you need a kind of power, ek andar ki shakti chahiye aapko, and we need to tap into that.
Very true.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Very beautiful point. In fact, Swamiji tells another story. Maharaji, when he went to the forest, he saw an old man there. Okay, and this old man, broken jaw, teeth, and withered face, and not having enough hair on his head, was looking at a mirror and combing his hair, like this. And then Maharaj asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm just preparing. When I don't know when my beloved can come." So basically, he was waiting for Krishna for a while, and he would prepare every day, thinking any moment he would come, and I need to look good. Just imagine the state that person would be, right? So they have that. They are ashawadi, hopeful, and then um, it time doesn't matter for them, right? Every day is like, okay, they're never out of hope with regards to what they want to achieve. That's the key. Something very amazing, mindset to have, actually. Yes, few other hands. Let's hear from them as well.
Yeah, can we please take a moment for some announcements, Nitinji?
You can take 2 moments, Pallavi.
So first of all, very important, the feedback tracker is in the chat. Please feel free to put your comments, feedback, questions for Nitinji. And that is first thing. The second very important thing is CIC grand opening. I needed to bring this for everybody's full attention here. So this is a grand opening ceremony, which starts from April 22, that is Friday, goes on Saturday and Sunday. So April 22, 5:30 p.m. onwards, inauguration will be done by our respected Swamiji. Swamiji's lecture, kirtans, cultural program. So it will start 5:30 p.m. onwards. On April 23, that is Saturday, 10 a.m. onwards, there are a lot of other programs. There's again Kirtan, Swamiji's lecture, and cultural programs. On April 24th, Walk for Noble Cause. Swamiji's lecture is also there. Speech by special guests, Aarti, and cultural programs are there. So this is something we can see. People who are not near the Dallas area, we can watch this in radhakrishnatemple.net. I can share the link so that we can virtually attend the event as well. And people who all are living near Dallas area, do take opportunity to go there and enjoy this blissful environment over there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nitinji, if I miss something, please add. Please feel free to add.
2 or 3 things I will tell those. So one is, if you are on or around Dallas area, you don't have an option. You have to come. That is one thing. Then second is, you forgot to ask the question, what is the 8th wonder of this world? Anybody knows that? Okay. 8th wonder of the world is, yes, Shyamji. You're on mute.
I don't see his hand raised. How can I unmute him?
No, I just put him in a spot. That's okay.
Okay. Yes, Shyamji, go ahead.
Radhe.
Yeah. Dallas.
Yeah. Wonder of the world is going to be inaugurated in a couple of days' time. It is going to be the CIC, okay, and you will get to see why in a few years' time. So do make it. If it's going to take the offerings of CIC to another level, and we're going to have a grand opening keynote speech by Swamiji, and an event not to be missed out on, especially if you are in or around Dallas. If you plan to fly in, like Shyamji might be a surprise for us, you're welcome to do that as well. Okay.
I wish to be there tonight, but I want you to be with me When you go there, just think that I'm with you. That I missed most of it.
That you're always there.
One request from my side to you.
Basically, whoever is not physically
Thank you so much.
present has to be mentally and virtually be present over there.
Yes, you have no choice. Okay.
Yes.
And plan for the Puri retreat. Okay, I'm planning that as well. It will be a great time to catch up and have a small get together for the daily wisdom participants as well. I hope it works out, fingers crossed, but if not, do sign up for that. It's going to be around the sea beach with Swamiji at a new premise with and whichever retreat you can attend, Shiva in India, I would say make it a priority here in US as well as because that's the most blissful time of the year along with Swamiji. Okay, let's
Great,
continue.
thank
Anything
you.
else, Pallaviji, you want to add?
I think we are all set. I have posted the link of if anybody looking for more information.
Yeah, and we'll have a walkathon as well. The fundraiser continues, so do check it out. If you want to put in any amount there, that link is still open. You can create your own fundraiser as well if you feel inspired enough, or you could join a team, or you can simply go and contribute towards somebody's pledge as well. All options are available to us, so do take a look at that as well. Walkathon, do come over. It's going to be a nice event. Okay, let's continue. You can see a couple of times.
Yes, thank you for waiting, Jyoti ji. Please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Pallaviji, Radhe Radhe Nitinji and everyone. I just wanted to share that the story that you shared today reminded me of Karn, who was asked not to compete against Arjun because Karn was not a true Kshatriya or not believed to be one. And that's the same thing in this case where he wasn't an officer, so he wasn't allowed to compete. And it goes back to the focus that Arjun had, where he saw only the bird in the tree while Bhim saw the fruits and Duryodhan saw the sky. That focus has to be in our mind for us to continue down the path and be able to, not exactly shoot like this guy, but to remain focused on our goal. To go back to Padmaji's example with the switch, I just wanted to reiterate also that Maya is always going to try to turn the switch off. So it's not just a simple throw the switch and it is on. It is more like we are constantly fighting to keep it on. And towards that, there is a small story that I can share if you have a couple minutes, if you have a minute.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So they'll be once they were some kids. They were playing swimming in a village river, and they saw this Swamiji come by the river bank, and he started to pick up the cow dung, dried cow dung, and he made a stove and he started to cook food. After he had cooked the delicious food, he took the pot and he emptied it into the river. And he picked up the burnt embers from the fire and he started to eat from that. So the boys were puzzled as to why Swamiji is doing that. So they've walked up to him and they said, "Why did you do that?" So the Swamiji explains that he had been a walking mendicant and he was fully focused on Bhagwanji. But for the past 2 or 3 days, he started to get hungry and his mind started to play tricks on him and demanded food. And so he started to cater to his mind and went and started begging for food. And he collected it all and he cooked and he started to satiate his body. He started to do all that. After he had cooked it, he came to his senses and he said, "Okay, my mind has tricked me and cheated me out of 2 days worth of dhyan that I could have done." So he punished his mind by throwing away the food, and instead of satiating his body, he punished himself by eating the burnt stuff from the fire. And this goes back to the fact that we have to constantly train our mind. Like our own Swamiji says that, that our wishes are like the fire and we keep pouring ghee into it and we keep satiating it. And if there is an itch in our body, the more that we scratch, the more that it itches. So we have to leave it alone. We have to punish our mind. We have to constantly train our monkey mind, like Padmaji said. We have to constantly train so that that switch remains turned on. And that is the conviction that we need to keep the determination going in order to achieve our goals. Sorry for the long talk, but
I think
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe illustrated the point really nicely. Reminds me of the Birbal story where Akbar asks, can we make, can we do something impossible? Or Birbal asked him like what? He said like not making this goat eat the green grass in front of it. Birbal said, just give me a few days, I'll make it happen. And then he takes the goat there, and the moment and put that green grass in front of the goat, and the moment it started, started to eat it, green grass, nothing like it, right? Like it's like rasgulla for a goat. It gave it a tight whack. Okay, next time the goat tried to eat it, tight whack. After a couple of days, it got trained. It's like it understood the moment I'm going to eat green grass, I'll get whacked. Same thing. And after a couple of days, he took it to Akbar. Akbar put the green grass, and the goat turned the face on the other side. So the point here is, similarly, we can train our mind. Whatever trips we can allow, we can actually tame it, train it. Any movement that we succumb to our mind, we are empowering it. And every moment we perform some kind of an austerity, we are empowering our intellect. So that battle is always ensuing between mind and intellect. Now, more power you give to intellect, the better off we are. More power we give to our mind, the more dance it will make us do throughout our lives.
Beautiful.
Great point.
Yeah.
All right. That's I can see Rahul as well.
Yeah. I'll take Asha ji. I saw her hand raised before as well. Thank you for waiting, Rahul ji. Asha ji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Excellent session is going on as usual, Nitin ji, Pallavi ji. I just wanted to remind that the example of Eklavya. He made the statue of Guru Dronacharya when he was denied by him because he was not a prince. And then he learned by himself by meditating on the Guru's statue. And then he became expert in that Dhanur Vidya.
Yep.
Just thank you.
Very true. Yes.
Beautiful story. Yeah.
He actually gave. He actually see that the relationship between disciple and guru is a heart-to-heart connection. Doesn't have to be so. That's where he actually acknowledged him as his guru and paid his respect to him, even though he did not accept. Yeah, great point. Thank you for sharing that, Asha ji. Yes, Rahul.
Yeah. One more quick thing, Nitin ji. I saw Srivatsan's hand raised.
Yes, sure.
Maybe a few minutes ago, and then now his hand is down. Has he left?
Rule of our session: once you raise your hand, you're not allowed to go. Pallavi ji will keep on calling out your name for next 10 minutes.
Yeah, Srivatsan ji, if you are here in the session, please raise your hand.
Yeah, please.
All right. Meanwhile, okay, thanks.
Yes, Srivatsan.
Please go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji. Actually, he wanted to say the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. He wanted to say that, and now he fell asleep. Nitin ji.
Okay.
No worries. We'll give him an opportunity to say that
Tomorrow.
Sure, thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for waiting, Rahul ji. Please go ahead.
Yes,
Radhe
Radhe Radhe. I think the text in the red text might need to be changed, because not only the switchboard of the cosmos, the powerhouse of the cosmos is sitting inside our heart and always providing that electricity. So the switchboard is already on. Now the point is that which appliances we need to run through that electricity which is being provided, it is upon us.
Yes.
And Maharaj always says, like, if somebody gets a lottery then or has a big bank balance, then he walks with swag or seena chauda karke chalta hai. So that is what he says, that we have to start realizing or keep practicing that the Sarv Shaktiman Shri Krishna is sitting inside us, and we have to continue doing our work, sadhana, satsang, and then seva, whatever we can do. Radhe Radhe.
Rahul, परिपक्व तत्व ज्ञान की परिकाष्ठा है. मैं शुद्ध बुद्धि का प्रयास कर रहा हूँ मैं.
Yeah, very deep concepts, Rahul ji.
Very deep
Yeah.
concept, very true. Maharaji has said that. See, when we are carrying a good amount of currency with us, or if we have a healthy bank balance, it gives us a lot of confidence. We get that swagger that I am somebody. Here, the Brahmanda Nayak is with us, sitting within us. The day we will have that realization, just imagine the kind of swagger you will have, right? It's a very deep concept. It's just about realizing it. God says, I'm walking with you, I'm with you. You just have to realize it. And that is the practice we need to get better at. He's with you always and he's willing to help you. He's seated within you. It's like it, that Kabir thing was there, right? Pani mein meen pyasi, mujhe dekh dekh aaye hasi. So God is with us and we're searching for it, but the day we'll start getting, purified and taking away the layers, we'll start having that realization that that fountain of bliss will start exploding, right? I saw that with Sandhya yesterday, that fountain of bliss was exploding. So that feeling will persist uh, always. As we get starting closer to God and the fact that he's with us for sure.
Yes, there is a beautiful message in chat from Satya Narayan ji. I wonder if you would want to raise your hand and talk about it. So he has mentioned that God bless Nitin ji and all gentle audience for giving me positive energy for next 24 hours. This type of discourse is needed for every human being who needs a peaceful living. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Satyanarayan ji. We'd love to hear more from you. And it's all Swamiji's, Maharajji's blessing that we are sitting here. I mean, I can't imagine otherwise, how this would have been possible if not for one of the good things that happened during COVID for sure. We adopted this platform and then the knowledge is so much out there. We're just picking up some pieces here and there and fortunate enough to discuss with each other every day. But thank you so much, Satyanarayan ji. We'd love to hear more from you. And thank you for turning on your camera. Where are you joining us from, Satyanarayan ji? You're on mute. Get me unmute you.
Please raise your hand so that I can.
Yeah.
I'm here. Yes, Satyanarayan ji. Where are you joining us from? Are you from Odisha, by any chance?
Yeah. Radhe. I'm joining from Odisha, the capital city of Odisha, Bhubaneswar. I'm basically a man from Lord Jagannath Puri district. So where I think yesterday you had a discussion to have a meet at Puri. So मैं एक चीज बोलना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे कि एक कहावत है, इट्स नॉट ए कहावत, इट्स ए रियलिटी। जब जगन्नाथ जी का डोरी नहीं लगता है तब तक आप पूरी जाओगे लेकिन जगन्नाथ जी का दर्शन नहीं पाओगे। It means if there is a rope is not being connected to you, you can go to Puri and have a walk at Puri beach, but you cannot have a darshan at Lord Jagannath. So that is what we have a strong belief in. We had a discussion about the belief, we have confidence. All this we have discussed, and that is actually fact. What I want to say that this type of discourse is actually required for everybody, because when we are discussing about the reality, because in our everyday life we will have lots of ups and downs. So in order to meet this and make it a balance, we need to have such type of discourse which is required. Because I am into sales profession where I am also a trainer. Now we need to come across with so many audience who have a lot of negative mindsets. So what we used to do is we transform the negative into positive so that the productivity will be enhanced and increased. So to enhance the productivity, this type of things are very much required. Only one little bit suggestion is that we can have, if we can have more of Indian examples, like Swami Vivekananda ji, when he was at Chicago, although his deliberation was rejected on the pretext of he was an Indian, but subsequently he was being accepted worldwide. So those type of examples are actually required. Indians, because in our country, in India, we have so many of examples which can be set, which can be set. So anyway, once again, thank you very much for this type of discourse and discussion and positive things which are getting a positive vibration into our mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Satyanarayan. Wonderful to hear you and see you. Thanks for coming on the camera. And yes, we look forward to attending the retreat if everything aligns, and meeting you as well as meeting Lord Jagannath as well. So all three we will hope to accomplish in one shot itself. Thank you very much again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Satyanarayan ji brought out a beautiful topic about someone from India. So in chat, people mentioned about Sudha Chandran as well. Very inspiring story she had. She also went through a lot of different adversaries, and still she is one of the biggest dancer in India.
Please share those stories. I think we can bring in sessions, especially if you get some videos, do that. We can play snippets for that. These are always very inspiring. See, sometimes when we are going through scriptures and we talk about only the scriptural characters, right? It's for some it can become a little difficult to relate to and say, okay, they were idealistic people. But when we are able to bring somebody from real life, especially from contemporary life, it has a better impact. So we should have that mix. And if you have some inspiring stuff, feel free to share with me. Reach out to me over email or over text or on the attendance tracker way, and we can certainly compile that list and play it from time to time as and when we touch upon that relevant topic.
Yeah, thank you for waiting, Swati ji and Preeti ji. So I'll take Swati ji. Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I also remind one of the story what I have heard from Nitinji also and Swamiji also, that bird, he waits for that water which comes from the Swati Nakshatra. He will not drink the water from any river, nothing, anywhere. Even though he may die, but he will wait for that. Once in the year, that rain comes, he will wait for that. In the same way, we should have our focus of the God realization, nothing less than that. No focus shifting, only that, otherwise nothing else we want. That way we can have the firm resolve and then go direct, and we can switch on our heart, nothing else we want. We cannot settle like my way or highway, nothing. Only this way or nothing. I don't want to go anywhere other than this.
Very true. In fact, in path of devotion, if we can make that resolve, nothing like it. And in fact, in devotion, it's okay to have even the Abhiman part of it. Like Hanuman had an Abhiman that he's the sevak of Lord Ram, right? Abhiman of devotion is good because you're dovetailing your Abhiman also now. So, but those are advanced stages. They can have that Abhiman because he's reached that stage. Yeah, very good point, Swati ji. We got to be very selective, like that Swati Nakshatra, that Chatak will only drink that, otherwise it would rather die of thirst.
Wow.
That level of, that thing is needed. Beautiful. Thank you for bringing that out. I can see one more hand, maybe last
Yes,
one.
Preeti ji, Radhe Radhe. Thank you for
Radhe Radhe. Just wanted to thank you for these wonderful sessions that you're doing, and it makes us all grow so much within ourselves. It's incredible. I have many situations that comes that brings a lot of anger, and it used to take me like 4 or 5 days to get over that anger, and now it takes me less than like 2 hours. So I progressed that much into into that, because there are so many situations that is just intolerable, and after listening to Swamiji's lectures and attending sessions, obviously you don't see those changes outside. It's just what's happening inside you, and I really appreciate that all that you all do. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti ji, for sharing that. That's a lot of productivity increase. Okay, from 4 days to 2 hours, that is pretty awesome. I think the next step for you would be laugh about it. So we'll work towards that as well. So, but that is great. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad you're able to join consistently and you're seeing changes happening. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
So Nitinji, people are asking about do we have any link to look for Puri retreat? Is there any where we can have more information about Puri retreat?
I'll share the link with you. I think
I couldn't find anywhere.
It's published. I will get that. Okay. That shouldn't be a problem at all. In fact, Swamiji has Shivir, Sadhana Shivir, multiple Shivers throughout the year. If you are in or around those, check out his schedule. I'll share the details with you. Wherever you can make it, definitely make it a priority to go there. You will have a life transforming experience, I'm telling you. And we get this opportunity anyways here in Dallas every year. And in fact, we have multiple opportunities. If we could somehow accommodate those. But in India also he does that. So do plan for it in advance and try to make it. I'm telling you, it's going to be a blissful experience for sure. But I'll share it. I'll try to get that information and share it on the link tomorrow. That way everybody has it for reference, and you could look at his itinerary schedule whenever he's in India and plan accordingly.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Surinder ji has mentioned in chat, Hanuman implies sans ego.
Sans,
So yeah, what was the context of ego? Maybe Surinder ji can talk about it. Okay.
ego is edging God out.
राधे राधे प्रभु।
Radhe Radhe Prabhu.
हनुमान जी का नाम से क्या निकलता है, मैं वो जिक्र कर रहा था कि हनन, मान का हनन।
Okay, okay. No, that's
हनु मीन्स हनन, मान का हनन जिसने कर लिया उसका नाम हनुमान है। उनकी दूसरी बात आती है, उन्होंने अपनी पूंछ में आग लगाई थी लंका को जलाने के लिए। पूंछ भी ईगो है, मेरे को पूछा क्यों नहीं, उन्होंने अपनी पूंछ को ही आग लगा दी थी, इसलिए वो लंका को जीत के आए थे।
सही बात।
That's how it is.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Moonch, all are man, right? That's a good way of looking at it. Hanuman.
We have to learn from their names itself.
Yeah, for little one, I always used to. He's a big Hanuman fan, so maybe one of the days I told him that, like, you have, Spider-Man, Superman, there is Hanuman. Okay, that's the one you should focus on. So ever since, he's been a big fan of Hanuman. So
Beautiful.
thank you for sharing that, Surinderji. I think we can do the closing prayers.
I will also be interested in that Odisha retreat अगर होने वाली है.
I think we should all have a good, what do you call that, gathering there as well. So let's all plan for it. All of us.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Let's go together. Let us go together.
I think that you say, right, today's verse we said, if you try every zarra, will make sure it will happen. So hopefully it will all fall. It really boils down to our resolve now. So we will make
zarre se pahad ban jata hai, sir.
Yes. Let's plan for that. Tomorrow I'll try to get the details. That way all of you have it, and then we could certainly plan.
God bless you. The stories you tell, the way you conduct these sessions, I'm really superlative. Thank you very much.
Thank
Radhe,
you
Radhe.
for your kind words, Surinderji. It's all Swamiji's, Maharajji's blessing, right?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah, that the thing is there, right? I always reminds me of that Pangum Langayate Girim. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tadaham vande paramanand madhavam. So when Krishna desires, a dumb person can start talking like I do, and a lame person can cross over a mountain. So yes, it's all God's blessing. But I feel fortunate. We all feel should we feel fortunate about the fact that we are actually discussing Song of God, right? Bhagavad Gita. It's a huge deal. And this is a thing that become fashionable in India to talk about Bhagavad Gita, but nobody truly gets to read it. Or they will have their own concepts based on WhatsApp forwards. But truly Bhagavad Gita teaches, if we can actually learn it, nothing like it actually. It's a life-changing opportunity for sure. Wonderful. Let's do our closing prayers. Who is going to do the privilege?
Yeah. Anyone who wants to take the chance of... Yeah.
Anybody who wants to take a chance? Okay, you want to take a chance? All right.
Asha ji?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Let's do it
Please
together.
go ahead to recite that.
Yeah.
The end prayers. Yeah.
If anybody
please go ahead. That's fine.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Great rest of your evening. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Day after, we'll not have the session because we have CIC inauguration. We have a lot of work to do there. But tomorrow, we will discuss the concluding part of the series that we are doing of the last P. And it's going to be a very interesting discussion tomorrow. Stay tuned. Do turn up and get your friends as well. We will challenge some of the things related to spirituality as people look at people, who are on this path suspiciously. We'll challenge some of it, and we'll also go through some of the things that are very tangible that you will be able to experience, which will reinforce to you that you are on the right path. Tomorrow we'll discuss that. Good night. Radhe Radhe. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Nitinji, for awesome session. Thank you, everyone, for joining and participating so enthusiastically. Have a blessed day. and a blessed night.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.